spring's on us, and it's time to start thinking about these outdoor projects. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at building this little cedar side table. It's great for your deck, for your patio, and it's really simple to build. Stay tuned. We'll get started. Well, here's the pieces that we're going to need for our side table. All the lumber is 1.5 inch wide by 3/4 inch thick cedar. I bought 4 boards 8 feet long at the big box store for $2.58 a piece. Prices may vary in your area, but you should be able to build this between $12 and $15. We'll need 16 slats 10 inches long, 2 slats 8.5 inches long. We need 4 supports 16 inches long, and 4 legs 17.5 inches long. Before we get started building, I want to share with you the way this thing is put together. The top shelf and the bottom shelf, they're made exactly the same, with the exception of these last 2 slats. All these other slats are 10 inches long. These 2 slats are the 2 that are 8.5 inches long. And that's so that they can sit in between the 2 legs. And these are 10 inches long because it allows a 3/4 inch overlap on each edge so that the legs can set flush with the outsides of the slats. But the top made up of 9 slats and the bottom shelf made up of 9 slats. They're made exactly the same except for the 2 end slats. Now, we use a 5/16 spacer in between each slats. You'll see me using that. It's just a 5/16 inch spacer used on the top and the bottom. And then there's a 7 3/16 inch spacer that goes in between these 2 supports. I'll put one at each end as we build it to properly space out these supports so that it's spaced right. And that's all there is to it. Now, let's build it. I have my table saw set up with my crosscut sled with a stop block set at 10 inches to cut the 16 slats that we need 10 inches long. Now we need 2 8.5 inches long. Now we need 4 supports 16 inches long. Now we need 4 legs 17.5 inches long. I clamped a square to my workbench so that we make sure that we get it square. And I'm going to put 2 supports down. We're going to make the top first. And a 3/4 inch spacer in to allow for the hangover. And then our spacers for the supports. Then it's just a matter of gluing and brad nailing the slats on. Okay, 5/16 inch spacer. the back. It just repeats for all, just repeats for all 9 slats. Make sure you stay square. Again, I'm using Type Bond 3 wood glue. And 1 1/4 inch brads. There we are. Okay, remember on the bottom, our first and our last slat are the short ones. So, first and the last slats are the 8 1/2 inch slats. And that's the bottom shelf. Now to put the legs on, all I'm going to do initially is I'm going to clamp them on, square them up, and then I'm going to brad nail them. And then I'll come back with some screws. But initial is just going to be some brads to hold things in place. Now I'm not going to glue it because we've got cross grain situation going on. By that I mean I've got grain running this way and then we've got grain running this way. And you don't really want to glue things up with a lot of cross grain situations. So I'm going to try to avoid that and just brad nail for now. Just repeat that, make sure it's as square as it can be. Now I'm going to repeat that for this back side. That, and now we can place the top on in the same fashion. You can see how this fits together. I'll turn it this way. These were spaced so that the runners will sit right in there like that, right in between the legs, and they'll just sit right there. So it's just a matter of we'll brad nail this in real quick. Now I'll come back and I'll put some screws at all the intersections of the legs and the runners. A little pre-drilling. So that's our little cedar patio side table. Pretty simple project to build. And inexpensive and useful. Should give us some use on your patio or on your deck. I will put 2 coats of this General Finish outdoor oil on them. This stuff is amazing. A couple of years ago I put this on a piece of cedar fence art, and to this day it still has a great shiny gloss on it after being exposed to these Texas summer heats and rainstorms. So it's good stuff for outdoor, especially cedar finishes. Well, we're glad you tuned in. We hope you liked the video. If you did, we ask you to give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment. And if it's the first time you've joined our channel, we ask you to subscribe for us so that you'll get notifications of other videos that get published. You can follow me on Instagram at ll_woodworks. And on my website is ll-woodworks.net. And on my website there's a reference page. And on that reference page you can find PDFs of how-to tutorials and other information on some of the projects I've done in the past. I'll try to put one out on this one as well. And you can follow us on Facebook. I have changed my Facebook page to Lynn Lacey. So you can follow us on any one of those. But we appreciate it if you like our video, leave us a comment, and subscribe, LLS, that I've been calling it. So appreciate you tuning in, and until next time, work safe.